Well, welcome to the Business Spotlight series. My name is Donna Kapmeyer, and I'm the CEO and firm owner of Action Coach of Coastal Bend in South Texas, and I will be your host for today. I am very excited to have our special guest, Russell Smith, on our show. Russell is the CEO of Top Gun Oilfield Training Center, and today we're going to talk to Russell about his business, his journey to business ownership, some of his challenges, some of his successes, and have him share what it's really like to own and operate a business as an entrepreneur. If this is your first time on the channel, be sure to like and subscribe so you get notifications when we publish new content. You don't want to miss it. Well, Russell, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Fantastic. All righty, so let's go ahead and get this party started. So let's do what like everybody likes to ask is kind of tell us how your journey began and how you got started.
Well, it's kind of funny. I started as a farm kid, grew up in a farm, thought I'd farm the rest of my life, and went to A&M, so big Aggie here. But graduated, farmed for about 15 years, and then time started getting tough and realized I needed to do something different. And the good Lord put me in the oil field. And, we've been going ever since. And I started with Halliburton. They kind of trained me up in the oil field, taught me what I need to know. We're in the logging side or the wireline side where we actually run logging tools, explosives, stuff like that into the well. It's a pretty technical field. It's not for it's for guys that got to have a little brain to them. Because we're dealing with explosives too, and it's safety wise. But it's fun and it's technical and it challenges me, and I really liked it. And but we started a school probably about 7 years ago. Most companies have their own training facilities. Halliburton had theirs, Baker Hughes, Lumberjay, they all had their own training facility. And when I got out, I realized, you know what, if a guy wanted to learn how to do this just as a trade, he would either have to be hired by these big companies to do it. And so we decided to, start our own little school and make it where anybody could come that's available. And that's what we're doing. We've opened it up to companies that don't have a training facility of their own. They can come to us so we can train their guys. And it's grown from there. It's been pretty fun. Just watching this little old shop that we are sitting. Well, you saw the place. It's nothing big. It's nothing extravagant, but we do have a wireline truck and logging tools, and the well itself is probably the most valuable. And we can teach guys, and people come from all over the world to come here, believe it or not. We're pretty unique in what we do. So, but that's in a nutshell, real quick, how I got to where I need to be.
Awesome. So thinking about that, right? You're basically competing with the big guns, if you will. Appropriately, yeah. I like your name, Top Gun. But let's. So there had to be some challenges around that. So let's talk a little bit about some of the mistakes maybe that you made along the way, and what did you learn from them?
My other businesses in life, I probably started off too strong. I would say I probably went into debt way too much. If I could ask, no matter what business you start small and see how it does. Watch it grow slowly. Don't force a business to happen. If the market's there, it'll come to you. I've owned other businesses and I've invested money, and not that we didn't do good, but we sold and just wasn't real profitable, and we just got out of it. A lot of it was due to high debt, high interest rates and stuff of that nature. When I started this school, I said, look, I am going to start with the bare bones. We are just going to get by with whatever we have. I rented a little building from a guy for a while, and it was a good deal because if I didn't have any classes for the month, I didn't have to pay rent. So it was, only paid rent when I got to utilize it, which was really cool. That really helped me. And I got comfortable doing that until he kicked me out and said, Russell, I got to have my building back. So you got to do something different. And I said, well, what's my other option? So my house is close to the training facility. And I said, what we're going to do is we're going to close in our garage. We're going to abandon the garage and make that a classroom. So we did it, and got the garage in shape and put some ACs in it and stuff. And we worked out of our garage, and it was very low budget. I didn't have to pay that rent no more, so it was good on that end. Um, so, like I said, low budget. It wasn't all about looks. It's the content we were given. As long as the guys were getting what they wanted, they were happy. Yeah, we're working out of our garage, but you know, it's working, and it's profitable. We're making money doing this, and and then I guess we got going pretty good, and it's up and down. It's welcome to the oil field. COVID hit. Guess what? Everything shut down. Um, they were handing out COVID loans with really cheap interest, so I uh, signed up for one of them. They were, like I said, it was a pretty easy loan. And I said, you know what, with 3% interest, I don't know how much we bought, 50 grand or something, but it was enough to build a building here. And so we're going to utilize that. We had enough saved up to make it for a year. So we did that. And we have a COVID loan. We make a payment of, I don't know, $350 a month, which is pretty cheap rent for the building we have here. And so honestly, as bad as COVID was, economically, it was nice to be able. I don't know when I would have got this building without a nice little cheap low interest loan, but it worked out good for me. And but back to your answer, the mistakes, just don't overbear yourself with debt. Trying to make things happen. It's okay to buy used stuff. It's okay to do stuff, and that's economical. And utilize it. Do the best you can. Because I learned the hard way with other businesses, and just start small. That's what I recommend. So anyway.
Well said. Well said. Thanks for
Yeah.
that. Now let's move forward a little bit. Where do you see this business being in the next 5 years? What do you want it to look like? What kind of aspirations do you have for it?
Well, this is a very hands-on business, teaching guys how to do this, but I get a lot of phone calls from people from overseas that want to get here, and yet they can't get visas, they can't do stuff. So we're really going to push for some type of online training for guys that are in the field
Okay.
that are overseas, from Nigeria to Pakistan. I mean, you wouldn't believe wireline is all over the world, whether you realize it or not. It ain't just a U.S. thing. Everybody does it, and but getting there to access to get the training is limited, at least for these guys. And so we're trying to put together a online training class to help guys get trained up doing what we do. I hope that is the future of this. There's no better training than the physical hands-on. And I'll just be honest, the
Right.
online training is not going to take the place of what we do here. We can physically do things, but at the same time, a person that doesn't have any training, I would rather give them something
Yeah.
than nothing. And that's kind of where I'm wanting to lean with this. As I get older, it would be nice where I had some online training, and companies are using online training to where, I don't have to work anymore. They just pay the training fee, and I can, retire on that. So whether that happens or not, I don't know. But that's kind of where I'm wanting to lean. I will always have the physical side where they can come out and run the logging tools. That'll always be here. But if I could promote the online, I think that's probably where I'm wanting to go with this.
Nice.
So,
Because you can't physically be all over the world, right?
oh no. And I don't know if I told you, I had a call from a guy from Malaysia wanting me to do explosives training, and I just didn't want to go to Malaysia. You were telling me the Malaysian airliners and stuff. That's a kind of a scary thing.
That's right. That's right.
But if I had an online class, they could take it, and that would be pretty good. So that's what we're concentrating on.
Fantastic. I love that. Love that. That makes your brand worldwide and gives them something that they can
Yeah,
utilize.
yeah. And honestly, I never opened this. I never started this thinking it would be a worldwide company. Not in a million years. I would hope to get guys from maybe other states would have gone down here, and but here it is. God opened this up to be something that was a lot more broader. And understand, this is not a lot of people. My biggest class might be 4 people.
Mhm.
This is not something big. We're such a small little niche or market.
Yeah.
But it's very lucrative. And if I could tell people, if you want to get in the oil field, and you know this would be a lucrative position to be in because it does. You make good money. Just starting off. It's not an 8 to 5 job. It's not some, wear slacks and you get to be home. It's not that. You're going to have to put in your 2 cents at the beginning. You're going to have to be away from your family. And that's the downfall of the oil field because
Yeah.
everything's pretty much shift work, and that's just the way it is. But if you're young, if you're out of college and you're just getting your life started, and you can get into this industry and be able to build assets very quickly. You can make some money doing this, get your school debt paid off pretty fast if you went to college. It's there. It's just people don't know about it. And like I said, we're such a small little group, and it's very rare that you see somebody in wireline. But if you do know it, you'll understand that they're pretty happy to be in here. So anyway.
Well, hopefully we're spreading that message and we'll create some more awareness about this
Yeah,
and
if guys want to
attract some
come,
folks.
because we start guys from the beginning. We start advanced guys. We have other classes, some logging classes, but for guys that want to come on, that are, the problem I have with guys is you got to be 21. We're dealing with explosives. You got to be of age. You can't have any DWIs or any felonies of anything like that. ATF is going to background check you to make sure you can handle explosives. So, there's limiting factors on that. But if hey, you got a clean record and you're smart, man, give me a call.
Awesome.
Seems like ex-military guys and farm kids and rancher kids seem to be the best employees. So maybe they work a little harder than the rest or know what hard work's like, but we like them. So they'd be
Nice.
good.
Very nice. All right. So I want you to put your thinking cap on, and maybe
All
this will
right.
be easy or not, but let's talk about success. And when you think about success, who were some of those people that you think of, or who do you think of first and why?
Hey, success. I think Robert Duvall said, you never measure wealth with money. Okay. Success, if you're looking at money wise, I know a man that went to college. He got his master's. He went up and he moved up in the ranks, and he is way up in some oilfield corporation, makes tons of money, and very successful money wise, but he doesn't like what he does. You just don't see peace with him. Okay. Yet I can look at my father, who I thought was a very successful man. He was a farmer, understand, but he always had good equipment. As a farm kid, we got to drive some really cool tractors and combines because he had the good stuff. But Dad was always happy. He was never, very patient. With markets, with crops and knowing when to sell. I got to see all that, and there were struggles farming, but I would say he was probably just watching one of the most successful people, just living their life and being happy with life. We never wanted for anything. Didn't live extravagant, but I think he would be a pretty good example of a pretty successful in life person, and I try to emulate that with what I do. Money isn't everything. I would much rather have a little bit of money to pay my bills and a lot of freedom than a lot of money and no freedom. Don't get to do anything I want. I'm stuck with a job that I don't like. So freedom has its advantages, and freedom has value. And that's kind of where I'm at now. I don't make a lot of money with the school, but boy, I love the freedom. I love to be able to get up. I can say no to anything I want. Nobody tells me what to do anymore. And I lived like that for 13 years working in the oil field. I was at their beck and call. I took off middle of the night. It didn't matter. But that was the life I chose. And they paid me good. Don't get me wrong. They did. It paid me wonderful. But I had no really quality in life, is the way I would look at it. So much happier now.
Fantastic. That freedom is so key, and so many people sacrifice, what somebody says yes to, they say no to something else. So you're chasing the dollar, but it may be putting you in the ground at the same time. So you really got to balance that.
Oh
And
yeah,
and you know,
yeah.
there was a rock station in San Antonio, and I remember the DJ at the time. He would always say, "I hope you work to live and not live to work."
Work. Okay.
Right. And living by that mantra and how important it is to live life. And so you've got to find out what you're passionate about. Really, what are you passionate about? And that will make you so much happier. And being able to have that freedom to make the choices that you want to make and do it on your own terms is so key to a
Yeah,
happier life.
yeah. Well, I think you asked me early on when we were talking what my hobbies were, and I really had to think about it. And I kind of find out this little school is basically my hobby. It's fun. I
Mhm.
like meeting people, and and you know, it's some. It happens to be work that I like to do, and it's fun to do. So anyway.
So let's talk a little bit more about the oil field because I've got family members in the oil field and understand all of the demands that it takes. If you had to do it all over again, what
Hmm.
would you do differently?
Oh man, if I could do it again, I would get into oil field sooner
Okay,
in
all
life.
right.
I mean, don't get me wrong, farming was a fun life, but it was so stressful and it was just so not lucrative. We would borrow $250,000, and that was a lot of money back then to make 30 or 40 grand, in work all year. And with the chance of weather destroying you and insects and all the things that farming did. And I went, man, that's almost ludicrous to think we're doing this. Um, and yet get into the oil field, and the oil field is just, it's just abundant with funds and money. If you could just figure out something that you can do better than the next guy, you do pretty good. Um, well, farming was tough, and not to beat up farming, but if a farmer had a good year and he made money, the next year his inputs are going to cost more,
Mhm.
his equipment's going to cost more, everything's going to go up because they know the farmer made money. And I went, the farmer never gets ahead because they're just going to get the money. And so yeah, that was a tough life. At least that's the way I saw it. Uh, so I would have got into oil field sooner if I could have. I think I loved my life farming because I got to see the family all the time. But um, we just didn't have a whole lot, you know. Um, I mean, when I got on with Halliburton, I was so glad that I got hired on because I got insurance, because
There you go.
we didn't. It was insurance was not something we could really afford. So we prayed a lot, and God got us through it. But I was really glad to have insurance when we got hired on Halliburton. Um, but no, it's like I said, I am blessed to get into oil field and how it happened. The guy that got me in the oil field was a guy that I leased land from farming. He's the one that told me, he said, Russell, quit farming and get in the oil field where you can actually make some money. And he's the one that got me the job. It isn't what I knew. I accidentally had a degree. It's in agronomy. It had nothing to do with oil field, but because I had the degree, it helped me get a job at Halliburton. And he just put my resume out there, and they listened to him. And it taught me it ain't what you know, it's who you know. And I
Yeah,
just happen to know a guy to help me get my foot in the door. So I thank that man all the time because he's the one that started it. So
that's fantastic.
yeah.
All right, well, let's talk a little bit about entertainment, I guess, if you will. So there's a new series out called Landman
Oh
on
yeah.
Paramount Plus. Talk to me a little bit about that. What's real, what's not real, kind of. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, there's a lot of entertainment in it. Um, I wish the writer would made the oil field guys out to not make us look like we're all crooks, and we drink all the time and smoke, and we got felonies, and he makes it out to be really rough, and it's not that. There's good moral Christian people that I work with all the time, that that are all in the oil field. It ain't like you see on the TV. And I wish you would come across that a little bit more. Uh, but it is entertaining, I can tell you that. The drama that you see, some of that might be real. Some of the accidents that happen, I think they're pretty realistic things. I
Mhm.
think the guy fell off a pipe truck. He shouldn't have been up there to begin with, but pipe falls and he gets smashed if you're watching the show. Um, but there's some stuff that's just not realistic. The beginning of the show, the guy makes a spark and causes a flame. That's pretty not realistic. Could it happen? Yeah, but they have safeties for that. Um, I don't know of anybody that fights drug cartels in the oil field, and the show relates about that. But it is entertaining, I can tell you that. Um, but it's fun to watch. It's fun to pick and choose. That's not real. That is, and I couldn't go through all the stuff that I think is real because honestly, anything can happen in the oil field. And a lot of these stories, something may happen that actually did do that, and that's where they got the idea from. Um, I don't put nothing past anybody, but I can say in our sector, it's in the wireline, it's a very disciplined place. We don't see rough characters, like that. But I will say this: when I first jumped into oil field, I was a green hat. I was new, and when I started, there was some pretty rough guys I hung around with them. Filthy mouth and just not real moral. So I saw it, and a guy that I was talking to happened to be a good Christian guy. I got to visit with him, and I told him, I said, I don't know if this is where I want to work. Some of these guys are pretty rough that I'm working with. And he made the comment. He goes, Russell, you might be a light for these guys that they don't actually get to see people with your morals or standards. And you're an example to them, And I kind of took that to heart, and that kind of helped me, and how I, you know, presented myself in the oil field. Try to present yourself better than them. Try not to have the language they have, and try to not act better, but just somebody with a little more moral standards. And the guys respected me for that. And did they say them guys that were rough? They're still my friends, and we talk and so no matter what situation you're in, set the example. You know, people only act and only do things the way they were taught. And when they see somebody that doesn't do what they normally see, might be a breath of fresh air for them and go, no, I can actually act like I have integrity in this place, and people will respect me. And anyway, but
Love that. Seems
yeah.
like you had a really good influence on them, especially if they're still friends with you.
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah,
something to say.
yeah, and I was 40 years old when I got in oil field, so I was not a young spring chicken, uh, and I got hazed pretty good. Them guys made fun whenever they could. There's a lot of little things in the oil field they would trick a guy into doing because you don't know. If you're new, you're green, okay?
Sure.
And there's a little story about there's a V door key, and if you understand a drilling rig, the V door is just where they carry pipe up. If you can understand this, well, there is no V door key, but you don't know that. Well, they say, hey, we need the key to the V door, and they're going to go to the company man, and the company man is going to say, hey, I need the key to the V door. Well, the company man knows exactly what's going on. And he goes, I don't have the key. You need to talk to the driller. So you got to go up to the drilling floor and you ask him, hey, I need the key to the door. Well, I don't have it. And he'll send it to somebody else. And this is all just a big game for this kid running around or, doing. But it's all in good fun. And one of the things I'll remember doing and seeing guys doing. But they got me
That
pretty good on a lot of stuff.
that's awesome. And so my question is, did you in turn do the same thing for that
Oh,
next person?
absolutely.
Of
Absolutely. What
course you
comes around
did.
goes around. Absolutely. When I got in with Halliburton, I was a trainee. So, um, I had to do everything the engineer told me to do. So, because he's training me. So you're
Mhm.
basically doing his job. And for 6 months, I shadowed this guy. And every time a invoice needed to be wrote, I had to do it. Every time anything happened, I had to do it. And you finally got so sick, you're like, I'm really getting tired of doing all this guy's work. and I didn't like it at the time, but once I became senior, oh my gosh, whenever I got a trainee, I would get him so he would do all my work for me. So it finally comes back to you. So I got it back.
Yeah, it's my turn.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Russell, what is the best way for our audience to get in contact with you?
Well, yeah, we're on LinkedIn. I'm a big LinkedIn guy. We do have a Facebook page, topgunoilfield.com on Facebook.
Okay.
My phone number, email is all there. I think we just got on TikTok the other day, so we're trying to get our stuff out there with the social media stuff. But you can call me or RD Smith at topgunoilfield.com. But you can look us up. We have a website and all that type of stuff, so you can find us pretty easy. And if somebody wants to call and just talk and see if this might be some way or avenue they would like to go, we'd love to talk to you. Um, and we'll tell you the ins and outs, the goods and the bads. Um, Nothing's easy in life. There's a sacrifice to everything. Um, but it's the end goal, I think, that's important. What are your goals? What do you want to get? And I tell everybody that comes through the school, you know, this is a great way to advance your career and your assets. Wireline's just a little facet. We start off, but there's a lot of things in sales. The guys that come through our school, they've come through and they've gotten the truck and done their thing, and then they migrated on to other fields in the oil field.
Okay.
But because they had this background, it makes them pretty valuable. And so anyway, not to jump off another rabbit trail, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
just to get on, call me, we'll talk. I'll tell you the progress, how everything progresses. Um, in a couple of years, if you stick with this, you'll be pretty good, uh, pretty good shape. Um,
Fantastic.
and
Fantastic.
yeah,
All righty. Well, Russell, thank you for sharing your story and your insights. This has been very interesting, very valuable, and I hope that our audience finds it valuable as
well,
well. You know,
you know, we have a little podcast called All Shots Fired. It's a wireline podcast. It's not, it's a very specific group of people that kind of understand what we're talking about. But if you're interested, you can go listen to some of the people that have talked, and some of the people that have gone into wireline. It may give you a little better idea. And we got videos and stuff we do, kind of more of informative, educational stuff. But
if you wanna mention that one more time, your podcast, the name of it,
podcast called All Shots Fired.
All Shots
Um,
Fired.
all shots
Okay,
fired. That's a little terminology when we deal with perforating, and when all the guns are fired in the hole, they will announce on the radio, "All shots fired," coming out of the hole. So that's kind of where we got the title of the name from. So
love
if
that.
you're in the oil field, you understand what that means. So
Very creative. Very
yeah,
creative.
yeah,
Well, thank you. Thank you, Russell. This has been the Business Spotlight Series with Donna Kampmeyer from Action Coach at Coastal Bend and Russell Smith from Top Gun Oilfield Training Center. Please be sure to like and subscribe so you can continue to see our great content. Thank you for watching and listening today, and bye for now. And thank you, Russell.
yeah. Thank you again.